Hello and welcome to Pro Trader Strategies Market Commentary for Monday, February the 10th. I'm Eric Wilkinson, and you very well may recognize me as the Wolfman from mainstream media, where I've talked about the economic data and how that impacts the overall markets, along with geopolitical and economic data. I do that same stuff here in the daily market commentaries, but I layer a little bit more on that with option strategies that I'm using to implement into my portfolio to increase that overall yield. Yes, you can follow along with that because I'm here to educate you on how we do this on a daily basis in our trading platforms. All right, but without further ado, let's get on with that economic data. Well, not really a whole lot to see here. We did get an Italian industrial production coming in at negative 2.7% there, and that's pretty much it for the most part. We have a Japanese holiday as well, so not a lot of economic data today, being a Monday. Not surprising either. All right, let's get on with the overall markets. We've got crude oil coming off by about 50 cents. We're back below that $50 threshold that I've talked so much about. I don't really see it being sustainable below 50 for very long, but again, here we are. The markets can stay a little bit irrational longer than we can stay solvent. I'm not really having a whole lot more exposure to crude oil, although I do have USO on as a long. It's a little bit far away from where I'm at. I think that we'll support at these levels, so I'm not overall concerned about that trade right now. All right, gold futures are moving higher despite the fact that we're seeing a push in the equities. So gold finding the strength right now despite the fact that we're seeing equities move higher, which is something to keep an eye on. We've got VIX coming off as we would expect with the equities moving higher. Dow Jones up 100 points right now. It was off by 100 points right on the open. You can see this candle right from the get-go. As soon as the markets open to now, we have been almost unabated to the upside. A lot of strength in the markets, and Dow being really pushed higher by Boeing. Boeing's really doing pretty well today, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. Not too thrilled about that. We've got NASDAQ up about 60 points on the day, and this high is created during the day session, so that is a real high that we are looking at. You can see we're just about 9 points off of that right now. E-mini S&Ps up 14 points, again almost off the open of today's session. We have just rallied from the get-go. Overnight, this is the 30-minute chart of the E-mini S&Ps. You can see the overnight low was created as soon as we opened up on Sunday night. And coming into today, probably flush those guys out for the most part on the longs. And now, just from the start of the day, a lot of strength in the markets right now. And you can see there isn't a red candle in the session as of right now. So nobody's taking any profits as we are blasting off. Market seeing all-time highs across the board, except for in the E-mini S&Ps, I guess. But the NASDAQ and the Dow really pushing higher. All right, let's talk about some trades that I've been doing. Las Vegas Sands, SARS, not SARS. The coronavirus is going to affect Las Vegas Sands. Maybe most of that's been priced in, but something to note here, you guys, that Macau is 6 times larger than even Vegas, and Las Vegas Sands has a big stake over there. So with that being said, I don't know that I'm necessarily bearish long term on this, but I do think that they are going to struggle going forward to at least make 52-week highs. And with this high implied volatility in and around Las Vegas Sands, as you can see here, we have still elevated implied volatility. If I can see some of that come out, I think we'll be okay here. So with that being said, I went into the March and sold the 75 calls in there, which as you can see here is above the 52-week high there, and sold those for 50 cents. So that puts my break even at $1 higher, better than $1 higher than the 52-week high. So yes, we may start to rally a little bit, but I believe that we're going to kind of settle down in and around this and find resistance above 70 where the shorts will start coming back into the market. So playing that one, adding a little bit of short deltas to my overall portfolio. Gilead, they missed on earnings. They've had a big move to the upside despite that. But with this chart set up, it looks like the bears are going to come back in. And you can see it has a tendency to stay in a tight range between, you know, on the high end 70, which we are just below that now, and on the low end around 61. I thought about doing this as a straddle or a strangle or something like that, selling a straddle or a strangle, but I just decided to go in there and sell some short calls to take advantage of the high implied volatility. So in Gilead, I went into the March and sold the 80 calls in there for, what was it, 89 cents. So a little bit of a collection there. I did that one small as well. I'm not overall totally bearish, but I think that we will stay in a range here. If we get more of a sell-off here, I'm going to be maybe thinking about legging into that strangle. So we'll have to see, especially if implied volatility stays high. And that's about it. One thing that is a thorn in my side that I talked about is Boeing. And as you can see here, while they're moving towards the highs of the day, we've started getting a sell-off here. I'm going to wait probably to the end of the day, but not very happy about how I played this trade. It worked out great. Went down to that 300. I thought we were going to test 300. Well, 302.72 is the low that we've seen on the 52-week low there. And I've probably ridden this out a little too long for my trade on this one. It's still profitable, but not nearly what we were seeing when we saw that big sell-off. So not super happy about how I played Boeing, but sometimes, you know, I wanted those negative deltas in my portfolio as well. So we played that one with Delta Airline and DAL. And, you know, so anyway, that it is what it is. That happens. But I might look to cover that sometime today. I put in a couple orders throughout the day and just canceled them. So just keeping an eye on it at this point. Hopefully we can get a sell-off at the end of the day and make this look a little bit more bearish and get a little bit of correction to, you know, make a little bit more money out of it. All right, that's about it. I'm going to keep an eye on Boeing, though, for the most part for the rest of the day, and I'll keep you posted on what I do with that. All right, so if you can't take that, take it easy.